play multiple instruments, and look forward to getting into knowing Lua Faye a little better today.
Yes, indeed.
Rashida?
Hi, I'm Rashida. I'm a co-host. This is probably my eighth or ninth episode. I am a consultant. I'm a real estate investor, and I'm on the board at St. Mary's University. Go St. Mew. And I'm really looking forward to this upcoming interview because it's really going to be great.
Awesome. Go ahead, Rashida. We're going to bring in Lua right now. Really enjoyed that video and the song. I tell you what, this is so catchy.
Hi, Lua. How are you doing?
I'm so great. How's everybody doing?
We're wonderful. So good to have you. You know, this was a bit of a long time coming. So
I know. I'm so happy to finally be doing this at last.
Yes.
Well, we see your video. I was especially excited to see your video. I want to start off with, let's pretend like no one knows who you are. And what genre do you call your music?
I would say probably hazy is definitely bedroom pop, I would say. I think I just have different sort of subgenres and pop in general, maybe like alt pop, maybe some R&B sometimes. I have that influence in there. But it's kind of hard pop is so broad, so it's sort of hard to put it down into one category really, because a lot of my songs can be kind of different. But yeah, maybe alt pop, R&B a little bit. It kind of varies.
Well, I think that's a good way of, nowadays we see a mix, right? We see the pop, we see country, rap.
Right.
And I think I would even say that your music kind of can blend with a little bit of all of that. So how long have you been singing?
I have been singing, honestly, since I could talk, really, but I didn't start recording until after high school. But I did talent shows with original music since the 6th grade. And that's when I started to write down songs on paper, was late elementary school. And then every time there was a school talent show, I would do an original song. And then after I graduated, that's when I started to take voice lessons. I started going to New York every weekend. And I trained with Justin Stoney. That was really fun. He taught me a lot about breath work. And then I did a lot of trial and error with studios and trying to find the right engineer and everything. It took me a while to really find my voice, because at first I went to the studio, and the first time I heard myself sing, I was like, oh, I hate it. And that's when I started taking voice lessons. But yeah, but I've been singing pretty much forever. I've always loved it. It's been a part of me.
Do you remember the first song you actually sang when you were little?
Yeah, so it was called Love Letters. That was the first song I ever wrote. And I remember performing it for the show, in elementary school, and a lady coming up to me afterwards and being like, where'd you get your inspiration? Because it was based on a guy, but I never had a boyfriend at that point. So I was just like, I have no idea. I would just kind of make it up. But yeah, Love Letters. I don't know if I still have it, but yeah, that was the first
awesome
song.
Yeah. I hope you do. I hope you do somewhere. And
yeah, I gotta find it. It's probably in my email somewhere. I've emailed myself so many lyrics.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of which, how do you normally write it as a poem and then it becomes a song, or do you have a process, or does it just depend?
I have written music as poetry and then turn it into a song a couple times. I did that with Cigarette High. The verses in Cigarette High kind of were very I wanted it to be a certain length and wanted to rhyme with certain words. But most of the time I kind of just I write the music, I write the lyrics and the melody at the same time, kind of freestyling a little bit. To a beat. So it's usually just a song, because I find that writing poetry is so different to me. A poem I wrote a poem recently, and I was just like, I don't even think I can turn this into a song, because like I tried to, but it just didn't sound right, because with poetry it's so structured. Or it can be more free flowing and, you know, kind of more abstract and metaphorical. I like to write that kind of poetry too. But I always found, like, because I used to write a lot of poetry growing up, and I just found it was a completely different craft than a song. So usually it's sort of separate.
That is really interesting. Going back to what Rashida was saying about the different, sounds that we hear in your music, to me, there's a lot of soul there, and I would love for you to tell us about, where do you think that comes from, and how was it for you growing up in Virginia, in Herndon?
Oh, so I feel like that's two questions. Growing up, I lived in the house that I was born in, actually, for like 19 years. And everyone around me was always knew that I was a singer and was very supportive. My family was very supportive of me. And that was cool, to have so much support and everyone kind of being there for my craft and my art. In terms of writing, it's always been such a different process. Like, before I got on like medication for bipolar disorder, writing music was like, I didn't know where it came from. It kind of just came out of me, and I was just like, I have no idea what this is. Like with my EP Sirens, I remember writing it and then just being like, I have no idea where this is coming from. And then with my album, it was like very clear where the inspiration kind of cultivated from, because there were like real emotions that I was experiencing. So just to have like a separation from that was interesting. But I think every song you write is so different, and sometimes I'll just pull ideas that aren't really from real life, but just to have something to write and just trying to be creative, really. But yeah, it really varies. My dog is like trying to be in the show.
Oh, well, let's talk about that. I see you have a dog. Do you want to share with the audience who
Sure.
the dog is and how you got him?
Yeah, so this is Miami. I've had him for 5 years now. When I was 18, I was traveling in Miami. It was actually my first time on a plane, I think, and I was going there for Ultra Music Festival, and I was exploring the area before the show, and I just found him just wandering around. I was biking on the sidewalk, and I got off my bike, and I was like, "Hey, buddy!" And he was like, "Stop walking." He let me come up to him, pick him up, and everything, and he had a gash in his leg, so I don't know if maybe he was like abused or something. So I took him to the hospital, and he was in the hospital the exact amount of time I was at the show. So I got out of the show, got to the hospital, took him on the plane with me, flew him home. That was like the best time of my life. So he's like a little souvenir. I love him.
Well, good. So Miami, we have to meet him. I have to tell the audience that this is my second time really getting to interact with you. The first time Candy took me to an event and I got to hear you sing live. And I don't know if you remember that, but it was right before, you remember that? That was right before COVID. And I remember falling in love with your voice.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Was this in DC?
No, it was in Virginia where you're the studio writer.
It was at Nico's. It was at Nico's studio, Sweet Spot Studio.
Oh, that is so cool.
Mike night.
So it was a while back. It was like literally right before COVID. I want to say maybe
I think it was February 2019.
Yeah, so it was like on the cusp. And so I remember falling in love with your voice and hearing you. And then I can't remember, was there a guy who rapped with you or something like that? And I was like, oh man, you got to do a duet or something like that. But
I remember now. Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember that. Oh, that was so fun. Yeah, Nico's open mic.
Yes.
That was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So I just have to say, to see your progression, and I saw that you released your latest music December 26th, woo woo, and I want to know, like, do you have in store for us next?
So I actually have a few songs that I'm going to put out as singles. I should have put one out by now, but I've been so busy. But I have a song, Downtown. I have a song, Everything, and a few others. I'm not going to list them all, but those are going to be the next songs I put out. And they're more upbeat. They're more like about love and kind of happy. And so that'll be nice. Kind of change it up a little bit because Overcast was very dark. So those will be the next songs I put out. I also have some collaborations with a friend of mine in Richmond that I've been holding on to because I want to make music videos for them. I want to put it out the right way because I'm very excited about them and I want to make sure we have some visuals for that. And I also have a couple singles that he recorded for me. So I have a lot of stuff, and it's kind of nice because before this, I would always put out all my music and then I would have nothing, and then it would be like forever until I put music out again. So I'm grateful that I have some stuff sort of backlogged to share with you guys, and that'll be really fun.
That's awesome, Lua. And like Rashida was saying, I mean, that was our first time meeting you, and it was just we were both blown away. Just like she said, your voice. Oh my God.
that was
Song.
the first time I ever performed Hazy.
Yeah,
And I hadn't even recorded it yet. And I sang it and Nico was like, that's the song.
yeah.
That's the one. And then I recorded it like, I think it was like at least 6 months later when I finally recorded it.
Okay.
From
I
the-
remember you were reading off your phone.
I know. I'm so bad at memorizing lyrics. I'm always afraid I'm gonna forget something. Like I need to like spend time and like memorize all my songs so I can just
Oh,
like
that's okay.
be flowing.
But both Sirens and Overcast, they're both moods. And
Right.
they're both moods. They're whole moods, and I love them both. And
Yay.
there's so much good music just on those. I mean, even before we get to everything else that you're going to be releasing, soon. I like what you've got right now. I think more of that needs to get out. And
Thank you.
a lot of them, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this would be such a great song for a movie.
I would love that. Yeah, I'm supposed to be signing this publishing deal pretty soon, and so hopefully that will like branch my music off into different alleys. So
wow, that's awesome! Yay!
Congratulations! That is a big avenue. That's a big avenue.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm also very nervous. I have to get like an attorney to look over the papers for me and stuff, so I know what I'm getting into because I'm so bad with the business side of music. Like I'm just like, I just want to make art. I don't want to worry about all this. Like when I first started making music, I didn't go into it thinking like, oh, I want to be like rich and famous. Like I kind of was just doing it because it made me happy and it was like more of a legacy than anything else. I was just like, I'm gonna have professional songs to my name before I die. And that was basically it. And now that I've been doing it for a while, people are like talking to me and it's kind of like turning into something more, and that's very exciting. And I don't know, the fact that I never thought of it in terms of like a career and now it's kind of morphing into that, it's like scary, but I love it. It's a wild ride.
Yeah, three things that stand out from what you just said. First of all, the first thing that you said was I have to get an attorney to look over things. Some artists don't get to that until they're 3-4 albums in and they have no money. You know what I mean? So you coming out the gate that way, that sets you on a path that puts you ahead of the game.
Right.
The other thing you said you sing from, you singing makes you happy. That translates. That because when I was listening to music, I called my daughter out here. I said, hey, you need to hear this. Come and sit down. I need your feedback. And she, she's about 15, but she's like really musical with things and very subtle. So she was like, man, this is interesting. This is good. And so I actually introduced her to, I sent her some of the links to your stuff, so she'll be checking you out.
I love that.
And so that's what the thing. And then the other part too, I had a question in regard to production. The mix is super clean. Your vocals are produced very well. So I guess it's a two-part question. How did you find your producer? And then, let's just stick with that one. How did you find your producer? Because it seems y'all work together very well.
Thank you. So I hate going into this because I feel like a cheat kind of, but I actually lease my beats, which is going to make publishing like crazy, but when I first wanted to like record a song professionally, I was talking to like a rapper in high school, and he was just like, yeah, just like find a beat online and just start that way. That's how everyone starts. And so I was like, okay. So that's how I started making music, was just finding the tracks. And so after that, like especially in Sirens, I would like kind of sit with my engineer and tell him what I wanted to do, like, you know, morph the song this way or make it loop it this way. Like I don't understand production in terms of like my doing it on the DAW itself, but I can kind of, I know what it looks like and how I want it to sound, so I can kind of explain.
Yeah.
But it's all different producers, and then my engineer and I just like working to manipulate the track how we want it to sound. But yeah, I do want to get into having an actual producer make music around my vocals instead of me doing vocals around beats. But so far that's what I've been doing, and I feel like it's kind of cool because I just can have a plethora of options, and if I don't like something, then I just go to the next one, and I'm able to write music that way. So that's what I've been doing so far.
Yeah, from my ears, it sounds like just from a producer standpoint, you found your formula. So you're not like your producer, whoever you find, is going to pretty much, if they zero in on what you've already done, and then you flip it around and say, "Hey, look, build this around me." I think you've already found your golden formula. So I would say keep it going. And you it sound like you producing as well, because if you're taking out parts, moving things around, that's production. Yeah, so.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not doing the actual work, but I'm like directing it, if that makes sense.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely direct what I want to have done. And I did it more in Sirens. Like, oh my gosh, like I would sit with the song for like the first song I ever put out. It's not in Sirens, but my song Fickle. I spent 5 months on that song. Like
I love Fickle. I love Fickle. Oh my god.
I spent so long on that song. Like I was just like, do this, like move this around. Can you make this like a fade? Like I spent so long making that perfect and like putting ad libs in certain places. And then finally after like 5 months we were finished with it. Too Close also took a long time because I was like trying to move things around. And then when I got to Overcast, I wasn't as crazy with moving things around as much. Like in certain songs I was, but for the most part I was more, I don't know, maybe I just got more confident with it, and I was just like, I don't need to like bury my voice, you know. Like before I was sort of more like, oh, I need all these effects to fill it out, and then I sort of chilled out a little bit and just did more straightforward tracks, I think, even though I still have some ad libs and sort of that same style, but yeah, I cooled out a little bit.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't like comparing artists, but and this is gonna date me, but this reminds me of like when I was coming up and Alanis Morissette was like the new thing. This is you seem to me like the new thing, and it's pretty impressive. And I can't wait to see you. It's like you're gonna hit that point and you're gonna like skyrocket. And so I can feel it. I remember the first time I heard you, even hearing your new compilation, it's like amazing. And I think you hit different cultures. That's what I really love about it. Like I think you hit, you know, Black people, you hit white people, you hit every genre will like that. Anybody who loves the sound of music and your voice kind of complements it all, you know? So I don't think that was a question. That was more of a compliment.
That's a comment.
Okay, but let's go to the questions. The question, you know, one thing I was noticing is in a lot of your like Instagrams and videos and stuff is that you seem to be in touch with creativity, and you like flowers and tattoos, and I see the colors even today. So like where do you think that how many tattoos do you have, and where does that creative come from?
Oh my gosh, I've been in love with tattoos for so many years. Like I remember this one girl in middle school drew all over her arm in pen, and I was like, that looks so cool. Like there weren't even like amazing drawings. It was just like sketches all over her arm, and I was like, I love that. And then ever since that day, I've just been obsessed with tattoos, and I want to get them like all over my body. And I don't know. I just love I love body mods and like making yourself look different. I love like changing my hair all the time, wearing makeup. I love piercings. I literally have like all these piercings in my face. I got them all done in the same day. And
wow.
I don't know, just like changing up your appearance is really cool to me. Having like lots of artwork all over your body is kind of like a form of expression, I think. And I'm not necessarily the kind of person where all my tattoos need to have meaning. You know, I think just having something that's dope and beautiful you're gonna love it, because meaning can kind of change sometimes, and that's something that's like really rooted in your childhood. I do have some meaningful tattoos but there's a couple that I got that like the meaning changed, so I was kind of just like a little bit wary of that, and now I'm more focused on things that just look beautiful and are just kind of decorations more. But I think I have at least 13 tattoos. A lot of them are very small, so it sounds like a lot, but they're really tiny. But I do have like thigh pieces. I have a back piece. Oh, I'm actually wearing a shirt that I can show you.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that in one of your videos.
Yeah, I love that one.
I wish I had like a shirt that could show it in my hazy video, because I turned around at one point and you can kind of see it on the top of my shirt, but not all the way. But I was like, man, if I was wearing like a crop top or something, I could have like shown it, but oh well. But yeah, but I love tattoos.
Speaking of that, Lua, I love your fashion sense.
Thank
I
you.
absolutely love it. There were so many pieces that you've worn in your photos and in the videos. I was just like, oh my God, I love that top. Oh my God, I love that. And then there's this one, speaking of your hair colors, I really like the red, but you can wear everything. And there's one where you are a jet black brunette, it's short, and the makeup and everything with the hair, it's just fierce. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
So, I love changing it up.
Yeah. So how did you come around? Did you always have that fashion sense, or?
Oh yeah, like I was always like trying to dress up. Like I've gone through phases, I think. Like I remember I used to wear like all pink in elementary school, like literally all pink. It was so embarrassing. And then I was like super gothic and emo for a long time, for like years. Like throughout middle school and high school, I would wear like all black, like chains, like, you know, studded belts and stuff like that. And then I think recently I've just been more about just whatever looks really eccentric. I think like anything that just kind of catches your eye or just is different. Like I like that. I'm not necessarily in a specific style. Like my style changes all the time, but whenever I see something I like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. Like I just discovered this brand Akira, and I'm in love with their outfits. Like I got an entire outfit from Akira because I was just like, oh my gosh, I need this.
Is that online or where do you shop?
Yeah, it's shopakira.com. I got like this like diamond dress. It has like slits in the side. This like fur coat with it's like fur sleeves and then like a jean jacket body. And then I got these like crazy heels with like diamonds all over them. And I was like, I'm gonna rock this. I wore it to Echo Stage like a week ago, and everyone was like, "Hey, that outfit!" And I was like, "It was worth it."
Oh yeah, that's fun.
So,
that's so fun.
So I think we're about to hit break, right?
Oh yeah, we need to play some more music. I'm sorry, I lost track of time.
I have to keep her on track.
you're good.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're gonna take a quick little break right now, guys. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sounds good.
lost touch with the person you love. I hate lying and try to be honest. Emotions aren't simple. When my choices are level, you think that I'm dangerous. But I'm a good woman and I can be wild and loyal. Wait, no mistake, it's fine this way. Lost in your headspace, I'm up for the game. You can't be changed, your heart's gone away. Won't try to sway you, I know what you need. You don't even want me. You just love my body, and I don't got nobody, so baby, I'm cool with that. We can let the pieces fall where they will. Yeah, baby, I'm cool with that. I'll play by your rules. I'm losing, I'm using you too. So be calm, save me a spark. When I'm on your mind, then you're off of mine. There's space in between what's mentally sensible versus my feelings. So I go and bury my motives. It's better than saying things up in your face. I noticed you won't take the blame. I take it in, take it inside. I'm empty, but I carry myself, but I'm empty. I never asked for help, no, no. You can't be changed, your heart's gone away. Won't try to sway you, I know what you need. You don't even want me. You just love my body, and I don't got nobody, so baby, I'm cool with that. My motion is earnest like poison, it tampers with me. Every move is troubling, I'm trembling. Every move is troubling, I'm feeling sorry for myself. Am I good for nothing? So sorry. And I'm feeling sorry for myself. Am I good for nothing? I'm trembling. So sorry. Am I good? I'm trembling.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Poestry. You're listening and watching to Poestry, where creativity speaks, the podcast. And we are here with our guest, Miss Lua Faye. And we're so excited to have her. Love that song. It's one of my favorites, which is hard because I love all of them, but that's one of my favorites.
Yay! I'm so glad you like it. I'm happy we like remade the beat because I wanted something to be different about the single versus putting it in the album. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
Well,
So my engineer Nico produced that one.
excellent job. Shout out to Nico. Sweet spot.
Yes.
Yes. So a couple of things that I had was just there's so many. I wanted to know what you thought was different between Sirens and Overcast. We'll just start there. Yeah. Did you feel a difference? And if so, what was the difference between those two projects?
Sirens kind of came together really almost like it hit me in a way that didn't really make sense to me. Like I was kind of a puppet of the art. And then Overcast was sort of the opposite. Like the art was my puppet. And I was sort of more aware of what I was writing. and a lot of the songs, well, actually Bodies was one of the songs that came about sort of similar to Sirens, where it kind of made sense to me after I had released it. I was like, oh, now I know what the song is. And a lot of my music will kind of do, like with Sirens, when I put it out, like it was after I released it where I was like, oh, now I know where this came from. But Overcast, I knew what all the songs were about, and I knew where it was coming from, and it was kind of more a story of like a part of my life, where Sirens was kind of like this chaotic mindset, and Overcast was more like sort of like a book. If you're like listening from start to finish, that's kind of, it was more, you know, this is one segment, this is one segment. Sounds just kind of just random, I think. But it could be completely different for listeners, really. You know, I think everyone interprets songs differently. So that's just from my perspective. But yeah.
Nice. I like how you put that. That was really cool.
Thank you.
Well, I like how you are moving, and you continue to expand your experience, and you continue to, I guess, show more of yourself. You know, and I see the growth that you're having. If you had to talk to another upcoming artist who's trying to learn themselves, what would you tell them? Like, what kind of experience have you learned from your first album to your second, and what would you tell them to do differently, or what to do? You know,
I think it's really important to write all the time. I do that personally, not even just like music and poems, but also just like your thoughts and things that inspire you. I'll be like in my phone typing something. If I'm just in a conversation with someone and I like what they say, I'm like, give me 1 second, I have to write that down. Like anything that you think inspires you is cool to like pull creativity from that and record it. I've actually been going through, I have like hundreds of notes in my phone, and it would have been thousands by now, but I kept losing my phone. And so finally I backed up all my notes, but I've been going through all my notes and like journaling and kind of deleting the notes as I go, just to kind of filter out, okay, like what's important to me, and writing it all down. And like that's kind of been helping me understand myself better. And it's sort of helped me level up in a way, because it kind of filters out all the chaos and you get to like the root of what you're really feeling. And so I think, you know, journaling is really helpful. I think not always trying to write songs, but going back and forth between poetry, maybe even like short stories, trying to do something different all the time so you can kind of exercise that creative muscle. That's really important. And not to put pressure on yourself. Like I would hate if I had to like sit down and it's like, okay, write a song, you know. It's like I don't really function that way. It's like if I want to write a song, it's because I want to write a song. I can't just be this mechanical being, you know. So, but I think, you know, putting yourself in a space where you can get inspired and surrounding yourself with the right people who support you is really important. So yeah, but just writing all the time, even if you're not writing a song, not forcing yourself, but just picking up on anything that inspires you and recording that. That's been really helpful for me anyway.
I have to say, Lua, hearing you respond to her question, you sounded like a teacher to me. Oh my goodness, this girl teaches.
That's funny.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
That's awesome. And one of the things that I get the sense of, and you tell me if this is wrong or not, but you just seem like the way some of your posts and your lyrics, I think, are timeless. I think that they span the generations, especially when it comes to women. I'm just like, this is applicable to younger women, older women. It doesn't even matter. And I'm just, to me, you seem like an old soul. And I'm just wondering if you would agree with that statement.
That's so funny that you said that, because I was just having a conversation with a girl a couple nights ago and we literally said that. Like I'm an old soul. I feel like I've been here before. I definitely believe in like reincarnation. And like that's very real to me. And I feel like, yeah, I had that sense like when I was first like 15 or 16, I was like, man, I feel like I've been here before. So old soul, but definitely a free spirit at the same time. But that's
Very
interesting
much.
that you said that.
Very much, but there's a maturity to your lyrics, your text, your just how you express yourself that,
Thank you.
yeah, I just like this woman, you know, that
Yeah,
old school thing.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like your lyrics are very like relatable. I'm a grown man. I can still relate. Just just hear this the different phases of your songs and then how intimate the vocals are. So you do all of your own vocal arrangements.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing work.
Wow.
Let's just pause and take that in. That's
No, right?
Wow.
Telling you.
Oh
Some
my
of the,
gosh.
I love some of the runs that you do, and I don't know the terminology for all this stuff, but just some of that, I think you know what I'm talking about. And there are times when, going back to what Rashida was saying earlier, I heard a little bit of J-Lo. I don't know if you're familiar with her for your age, but it just, I love your sound. I love your sound.
Aw, thanks. I'm so happy you guys fuck with it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now
Can I curse? I don't know.
No. Hey, it's on the internet.
Oh my
It's out here.
But I do have a question. Like, so I know COVID has affected a lot of artists, because they haven't been able to really connect, and it's kind of pushed everyone into more of the online platforms because you can't really perform outside because there's so many mask rules. How has COVID affected you? It's a two-part question. How has COVID affected you? And then now that they've released a lot of the masks, at least in Virginia, do you see yourself going out there and performing? And if so, like, what's your next venue so we can go?
Yeah, so COVID definitely affected me because I was gonna do like a bunch of open mics after I released Sirens, and I literally put out Sirens and then COVID hit and everything shut down, and so that was a really real bummer. I am planning on doing open mics. That's like the next thing I'm planning on doing. I'm not sure where yet, but probably just some local spots, and then I'll probably put something up on my account to share where I'm going. But I'm very shy, so I might just like get used to it first for a few months and then be like, okay, I'm ready now. Like, I feel like it's almost easier to perform in front of people I don't know, as opposed to like having people there who know me. And then it's like, I don't want people to have like nervous energy for me or anything. It's been so long since I performed. So usually like I'll literally just be singing at parties and stuff. And like, that's like the most I've been doing. But I do want to definitely start performing because that's really important. The biggest thing I needed was just to get all my backing tracks, and I wasn't able to get to the studio until recently. So it was only like a week ago when I finally got all the backing tracks and like different instrumentals with like some with ad libs, some without anything, some with like lower vocals. So I finally collected all of my songs. So now I'm finally ready to do it. But my engineer was like showing me this sort of like, it's like an auto-tune box or whatever to help you with like performing. That I was gonna look into for getting that and trying to like have settings for that. But yeah, it's finally happening.
That's awesome, Lua. And when you said that you're shy, it just reminded me. I just am wondering, when you're modeling, there seems to be a little bit of a different attitude than with this singing. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'm not shy with modeling. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very like expressive, and I love to be like center of attention with like cameras and stuff. I also love taking pictures, and I love like posing girls and being like, turn your head like this, now go like this, now go like this with your arm. It's like so much fun for me, like photography in general. With singing, I think it's more about just like practicing and memorizing everything and getting comfortable with it, because I'm almost more confident just freestyling on a beat, like in front of a party, like that's like, for some reason, I guess, I don't know if I want to say easier, but it's just, I'm more relaxed when I do that because there's no rules and no one really knows what to anticipate. Whereas with the song, it's like out there and there's like this perfect version that I've recorded in the studio. And so I feel like there's that contrast of comparing, that I'm a little bit scared about. But I think that's the biggest thing. But I think in general, modeling is so different from singing, but at the same time, it's sort of the same thing because I have to think about like facial expressions. Like I feel like my facial expression when I sing is like so silly, and I want to like kind of memorize how I look when I'm modeling, and then kind of incorporate that into stage presence for singing. So that's something else I want to work on.
Well, just let me encourage you that one of the reasons that people like live music is, yes, they're kind of expecting what they've heard on the record, you know, and on the radio and whatnot. But it's always nice when the artist will change it up a little bit and give a different version and just
Right.
take it where it's gonna go. So
Yeah. And I was definitely thinking that because I've heard some like live performances from some artists where they change the melody a little bit or they'll slow some words down, and I'm like, I'm definitely doing that. That seems like my style.
Yeah.
A more free flowing, kind of make it your own.
Yeah, the live show is to pretty much create whatever experience you want your fans to have. You know, of course they want to hear the record. That's fine. But any nuances, I know I've always been blown away. I go to a concert, I was like, I heard the record, I want to hear the record. Then I hear this added part, and I just lose my mind. I'm like, oh, they added that. So that's a way you get to express yourself in a different way.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's when you're good.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So do you think that when you do your shows, or have you ever done like audience participation, like if someone's hearing like a chorus that keeps replaying, then you kind of do it with them and you like sing it? Or do you think you're more like you're into it so much you sing it and then continue with your song?
I don't know if I've really done much audience participation. The most I can think of is like if I'm freestyling and I'm like, guys, like throw some words in. What should I add to this song? Like that's like the most I've done where people have like been like, oh, put this line in and then I'll use that. But usually when I'm singing, like I get so into it, like I literally forget my body and I'm just like like my face just does all these crazy things and I'm just like so into it. So I kind of just lose myself, I think. But I think audience participation could be really cool though. So that's something to think about.
I definitely think so too. And you've mentioned freestyling twice now. I so wish you could do some right now. I would love to hear that. There's one of the songs, I can't remember what it was right now, but it made me think, oh my gosh, I would love to hear her rap.
Rap?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know. Like one of my friends has been telling me for ages to like do a rap, and I've been trying to rap more. But it's just like it's like so different from singing because like the lyrics just have to be different and it's just a different cadence and stuff. And but I think it would be really cool to like put out a song that has singing and rap in it. That's like definitely on my bucket list.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I would love to know if you do you think that an artist can make it in the DMV? Do it full time? Do you think that it's possible?
I think a lot of DJs make it around here, but then they kind of are confined to this area. And it's like you can make it in the area. But I think if you really want to be successful, you have to be like in New York or LA or something. Okay. And a lot of my friends always tell me to move out there. But I'm just like, I want to kind of like own this area first and get really comfortable and have my audience here and then expand once I have everything sort of honed in.
Yeah, I feel like this DMV can be like the next Atlanta. We see, at first people used to tell everyone you had to go out to LA. And now with this new technology and you see everyone just making the world what they want it to be, not letting other people dictate to you what it's supposed to be. And you own it. And there's enough people out there that I think in this area like you who perform and are really good and natural in what you do. I think that you could be the next person to like show us what it's supposed to be like.
Sure. Yeah, maybe change the game a little bit. That'd be pretty cool. Yes. I mean, I think there's definitely potential, and I think it's more just about like networking and getting yourself out there, so which is what I'm working on.
Well, next time you're in the studio, invite me over because I'm local.
Yeah, no problem. I would love that. I love having guests when I'm working. It's so much fun.
So if you had anything else you want to let your audience know about you, what's something that you think, like if people didn't know you and they've gotten to see this video and they get to see, your genre and they get to see your background, what's one last thing that you could tell them about you?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I think people have this idea of like who I am and where I'm going, and like when it hits me, I'm going to be the last one to know, kind of thing. I'm just rising at the moment. It's kind of an energy that I'm still taking in and latching onto, and I'm just sort of building. That's so broad. It's hard to explain. But I'm excited about these new projects that I'm putting out, these next singles, being able to explore more ideas.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm curious, what is the message that you want to put out into the world?
I think just be yourself, follow your passions, follow your emotions, even the dark ones. I think that can take you into routes where you're really creative and inspired. You know, with Overcast, it took me into a lot of like lower parts of my emotions, but I was able to get art from it and abstract from that. And I was so grateful to be experiencing kind of highs and lows of life and getting art from it. And so, you know, now I'm grateful to just be going through anything, even if it's like a low point. I'm like, there's a reason for everything. So I think it's just important to tap into yourself and be honest with yourself and be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say my last thing is I'm happy that your family supported you, because I did hear that at the beginning. And so I want to say bravo to your family, because I have family members, and a lot of my family members, we're genetically dispositioned, to have to, take medication and stuff like that. And so I think it's very strengthening that, you put that out there. And I think it's very bold and a strong person for you to let people know this is me and it's all right. And so I just want to give kudos to your family. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love my family. I'm so happy that they've always been like very supportive of me. I remember like every time I'd write a song, I'd bring my mom up and I'd play it on the keyboard, like, look what I wrote. And she's always like, oh my gosh, So that's very cool. But yeah, I've always been very vocal about like mental health and like what I'm going through. And I've just thought that transparency was kind of the best policy, especially because if I was like going through like mania or something and I'd be acting up on social media, it kind of like puts into perspective like why. So yeah, but I've always derived strength from just being very honest, and I think that's the best policy to go by.
Yeah, to piggyback on what Rashida said, I applaud you for, like you said, your transparency and also providing an example for people who are going through the same thing, and yet you're doing really well in terms of putting this music out there and being yourself. Putting your art out there and just being who you are. I love the post you made about about being skinny, and you were making other people comfortable with the fact that, oh yeah, I'm skinny, and you're like, F that. I appreciate that, really, because
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's
well,
so funny like getting skinny shamed, and I'm just like,
well,
it's
what I
I
was
don't
going
know.
to say, Lua, is that there's a lot of body positivity when it comes to BBW and all of that, but when it comes to skinny women, there seems to be a double standard. So I really I really enjoy the fact that you put that post out there, because that was good, and I'm so glad that that you're healthy, and
Yeah,
when you
no,
get
literally
go
like
for it.
I literally eat like crap, and I'm skinny. Like,
Oh
so
my God.
it's just funny because I feel like people are like, oh, you need to eat more. It's like I eat so much. So yeah, I think if you're having some sort of disorder, then that's dangerous. But it's just
Right.
to put people in a box where you think that they have some sort of issue around food because they're thin is just wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One last thing. So, well, a couple things. Who's your dream collab with?
I honestly would love to collab with just like some smaller rappers in the area. Like, there's this one rapper, Global Mongo. We've been talking about collaborating. Solomon Dixon, I have a couple collabs with him. There's this one artist, Trip, and I met him at a show a couple years ago, and he's completely blown up. He has like 70K on Instagram now, and I'm like, oh man, I felt like I missed my window of opportunity. But like once I climbed to, because I remember the last message he sent me, I was like, I'm so proud of you, like you're climbing. He's like, we're in this journey together, and I was like, hey, I like that.
Nice.
So,
Oh, you are definitely climbing, my dear.
I think doing a collab with him eventually
Yeah, that would be great. And it's nice to collaborate with the local artists. You know, you go and collab, you grow together and you rise together. You know,
right.
yeah, that's awesome. So
For sure.
yeah, so there was one more thing. There was a quote that you put in one of your posts, and you know, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I was just curious. You said somewhere between not needing anyone and wanting someone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like an all or nothing kind of person. It's like you're either everything to me or I'm everything to myself. And I think it's really important to be happy just in your own soul, like for yourself, like not deriving happiness from someone else, but just being happy solely within yourself. And so I think it's really important to like spend a lot of time alone and like not necessarily isolating yourself, but just making sure you fundamentally got yourself. And I think it's important not to feel like you need another person, because it just becomes toxic, because then it's like, you know, it's like if someone becomes like your heir, and it's just like you're waiting on that text message, or you're waiting on that, you know, phone call, and then you know, it's just not healthy. But I do think I get into moments where I'm the kind of person, like I have a lot of love to give. So I think I do really well in relationships as well. I've always been like a very long-term relationship kind of person. So I don't know. And I think like love is such a big part of life. And I love being in love. I love giving love. And so I do have this part of me that wants to find someone who I'm like compatible with and we can grow together. But I also have kind of a more fundamental part of me where I want to just be happy with myself and secure. And I think that comes from yourself, really. Like someone else can't give you that. So it's trying to find a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I so enjoyed having you on the show. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
We kind of scratched the surface. There's so much more. I hope that you will consider coming back and
For sure. Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, awesome. Kennard?
Are we kicking over to me for announcements now? Because I think Rashida gave her comments already.
Okay.
There's always more, don't you?
Always more. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna say goodbye to Miss Lua, and we're gonna do announcements. But Rashida, if you had anything else.
No, I would just like to say, you know, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing yourself with us. And you know, I look forward to what you have in store, and you know, learning more about you on your journey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys a lot. This was really fun.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks again for coming. Again, I enjoy your music, and I'm looking forward to hearing greater things from you and seeing greater things.
Yay. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Lua. And hi to Miami too.
Okay, I will.
Bye, Miami.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. So, Miss Rashida can stick around. We're going to do announcements. Sir, you want to go first?
Oh, I can. So you're going to put up the little banner?
Yes, I'm coming, sir. Let me just find this daggone thing.
All right. so a couple of announcements. I'm gonna focus on a couple. Well, it don't stay that long.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm gonna just put this up on the screen. Deborah Bond, she was on our show a little while ago, last year. But also she's on a tour, but I'm only going to announce that she has about 7 dates, but there's a date that's at DC Winery on March 16th. She'll be at DC City, what's it called? City Winery in DC. Because as we know, there are multiple locations around the United States. So she'll be there. Also, DC Winery has quite a few things coming up. I'm just going to share a couple of them. Okay. So we have, where is she? Make sure I get to it. Fatumata Diawara. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing her name right. She's there tomorrow night at 7:30 at that DC Winery. And then you have on Tuesday night, you have the Candlelight Jazz, a tribute to Miles Davis. That's happening this week at the City Winery.
Oh, that sounds good.
All right. Also, let's talk about a little bit about Dante Pope. He's been a co-host on the show a while ago, and he has a new song out there streaming now called "All the Game." As we know, he's all around. Musically, he does it all. So he's putting out new music almost on a monthly basis. So check out Dante Pope, DantePope.com, and also for Deborah Bond, go to DeborahBond.com. And lastly, from announcements here, Michael Johnson. So if you see the nice hat that I have on, and he's actually my personal stylist, but he's also a fashion designer. He's a part of the collective, the Silver Fox Squad, which are gentlemen that are ages 40 and over that are pretty much starting to have the grades that show. They're all about taking care of your health, taking care of your body, making sure you look good, make sure you feel good, and also they're going around the country on a tour now, mentoring younger men as to how to be better men.
Oh, that's awesome.
So awesome. He's local here, right up Marlboro. And here's a couple little things from his collection, and that's him there. His name is Michael L. Johnson. So you should check him out on Instagram, but also at actually it's michaelljohnson.com.
I like that suit. That's nice.
Matter of fact, let me make sure. I thought I had it here. I want to make sure I have that for you right quick. It might not be here. Let's see it. Okay. I think I see it here. So there you go.
All right. Thank you.
JLMichaels.com. So
that's good stuff right there.
We're gonna let that scroll one more time so people can see it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. So mine, I don't have, like I said, pictures, but the first one I have is that on March 26th, Miss Tamara Addison is going to be at the Busboys and Poets in Shirlington. Oh, wow. And that's going to be from 8 to 10 p.m. You've got to go see her. She is freaking amazing. She's a creative coach and spoken word artist. And she was just at the Alexandria History Museum a couple of weeks ago and just sold out. It was a sold out show. She was there with Miss Cookie B. He's also been in the show. And,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and a couple other ladies. So that was a good show. You all missed it, but definitely, check out the flyer. And that is courtesy of Tim Day with the Lyrical Coffee House. So you can check out all the events that he puts on at Lyrical Coffee House. So that's one. The other one I had was on Tuesday, March 8th, which is coming up very soon, is the Women's History Museum is going to have a celebration of International Women's Day. They're going to have a virtual festival, which should be really good. And then on Tuesday, March 10th, there's going to be a woman named Monty. I think that's how you say it. She's a Brazilian singer, and she's going to be performing at Strathmore Music Hall, which is a beautiful music hall. I love Strathmore. So if you have the chance, go and check her out. And then the last thing I have is, this is in April, but on April 15th, hip hop icon and Kennedy Center Hip Hop Culture Council member MC Light is going to be presenting a show called I Am Woman, a celebration of women in hip hop. And that's going to be an incredible evening of sisterhood and celebration as part of the Kennedy Center's 50th anniversary, featuring also Debrat, Gina, Remy Ma, Money Love, Mumu Fresh, which, is familiar to the area, Yo-Yo, Mama Soul, Tierra Whack, and more. And you can get your tickets at the Kennedy Center website. So that's going to be really good. So with that, thank you all for joining us today. We send you off with going and checking out all the great things that are going on. Things are starting to open up. So we hope that you will get out there and see these local artists and hit these venues and support them. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
All right.